You're listening to Snippets from the Summit with your host, Scott McKay.
How's it going, gentlemen? This is Scott McKay coming at you again with another snippet from the summit as part of the Mountaintop podcast. Today's topic, simply put, is her sexual past. This is a big deal for a whole lot of men. You see, there's this long-standing double standard. Women are revered for being virgins, while meanwhile, we as men are busy trying to rack up our quote-unquote body count as quickly as possible because that's how we count ourselves as studs, at least amongst each other. Now, deep down, however, we all know it's an impractical expectation to meet and date a woman with zero sexual experience. If we're adults, and of course, if bouncing back from a divorce, that's especially unreasonable. So that brings up the question, when it comes to a woman's sexual experience, what number is the right number for her to have in terms of how many sexual partners she's had? I mean, if she's a 40-year-old virgin, is that what you want? Or will you see it as if there's something wrong with her? On the other hand, if you want a woman with some quote-unquote sexual experience who knows what she's doing in bed and has some skill in pleasing you and being pleased, how much said quote-unquote sexual experience would be appropriate? Well, the truth is, in general terms at least, the quote-unquote right number is arbitrary. But when it comes down to specific men as individuals, not so much. It's usually a whole lot easier to calculate. Now see, granted, for many men, it's simply a matter of feeling sexually possessive towards women in general and towards the woman they're with, at least in relationship mode in particular. Now, as a quick aside here, this is the uncomplicated reason why boys will brag about casual sexcapades in the locker room and such, but we as men will almost never brag about what our wives and or serious girlfriends are like in bed, right? But as it directly relates to the topic at hand, many men can't handle the thought of another man having been inside a woman we're in a relationship with, or even him fantasizing about it for that matter. Seriously, guys, I've seen threads on Facebook men's groups where dudes are ruining themselves psychologically, dwelling upon the goriest of details surrounding other men in the past having banged their current wife or girlfriend, and they just can't get over it. So for such men, the fewer guys a woman's been with, the better, of course. But see, for other men, it's a bit different. The correct number of men a woman's supposed to have had sex with, in their estimation, is somewhere less than the number of women they've had sex with. The reason why this tends to be true basically comes down to jealousy. If we get into a relationship with her, we won't be able to play catch up. She'll always have the quote-unquote upper hand when it comes down to sex partners. You might see this dynamic especially often in couples who have faith-based reasons for abstaining from sex until marriage. In such situations where the man has limited sexual experience, he often can't handle the woman's past, even if those sexual experiences were before her conversion experience. Now, on the surface, this seems dogmatically judgmental, and the woman will probably feel slut-shamed, right? But no matter how much she apologizes or whatever, the dark secret is it'll never assuage the guy because he's actually jealous of all the sex she's gotten away with, that he'll never have the opportunity to have and, well, subsequently, I guess, ask forgiveness for. What a tangled web we weave, right? Now, check it out. I have coached men who were unable to reconcile staying in a relationship with a woman in their 30s, who admitted to well under 10 sex partners. And in every case, it was all because of the factor I just outlined. Now, here's an interesting point. Women, for their part, tend to care less about this than we think, and certainly less than we do. As much as we think women will dump us if they find out we're some sort of quote-unquote man whore, they're actually fine with sexual experience typically. It's cheating on them in the here and now that they have the biggest problem with, of course. And similarly, I've talked to more than my fair share of men who wonder aloud what a woman will think when and if she finds out he's an adult virgin. In both of these cases, we as men tend to project upon women how we would judge them and or how we as men judge each other. But, truth be told, as long as you're indeed presenting yourself as an attractive man to a woman, and indeed, men who are attractive to women can still be virgins for a whole lot of reasons, either for faith-based reasons like we just said, or they're shy, or a host of other reasons. Don't get me wrong there. But for sure, in that scenario, once a woman indeed finds out you're a virgin, her first thoughts are likely to be that you're sexually selective, are free of STDs, and importantly, that you didn't hire prostitutes even though you could have. Gentlemen, you may be shaking your head in disbelief at what I'm telling you, but this is what I know for sure. If and when we're keeping score with regard to a woman's sexual past, especially in comparison to our own, we're 100% sure to drive ourselves nuts psychologically, all the while decreasing a woman's sense of safety and security. My challenge to you is this. In the year 2024, can we grant women the same rights and privileges to enjoy their sex life as we grant ourselves as men? Can you arrive at that place for your own psychological well-being as well as hers? Or are we going to keep trying to find a virgin to marry, even as we're busy trying to decrease the population? Know this. Couples who are at peace with each other's sexual past for all the right reasons are far more relaxed in general, but especially with each other sexually. Want to talk about this or anything else? Scot at mountaintoppodcast.com. Be good out there.
As always, visit mountaintoppodcast.com for more.